When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can't always...
So today I want to talk about why consciously learning the maps is one of the best and fastest ways for a new player to see immediate improvement. I know this sounds like something obvious, but I see a lack of map knowledge all the time when I'm giving lessons, and new players often overlook its importance and tend to focus on pure aim. How someone moves around the map and how they peek angles is something simple that sets apart good players from the rest. This is a skill that isn't genetic and anyone can easily learn and apply to their gameplay. Learning maps will help you with two important things: knowing the angles you are exposed to and not running into angles. So the first thing you need to be conscious of are the angles you're exposed to. As you can see, just running through the map, you're constantly creating more places for you to die from. Your goal should be to limit these as much as possible by changing your position and always being aware of where you can be shot from. Knowing these angles goes hand in hand with crosshair placement. As you move through the map, be aware of the positions of enemies and have your crosshair ready so you don't have to do much flicking. Pre-aim and pre-fire all of these angles as you run around. When it comes time to play in the actual game, you shouldn't have to think, just act. Having these angles ingrained in your muscle memory is what makes your movement and aim fast and accurate. This is something that is pretty simple, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. Knowing these angles like the back of your hand will make sure you are less dependent on your ability to hit crazy flick shots and increase your consistency. Now, the really important part is not running into these angles. A lot of new players are peeking angles and dying because they're holding their forward key when they should only be using their strafe keys. What I mean by this is to imagine that you are peeking an enemy. You should be making that peek while holding only your left or right strafe key, never forward or back. As you're moving through the map, you should come up to the desired angle and make sure to stop and draw a straight line with your movement as you make that peek. Your two reasons for this are simple. If you're running into an angle, you expose yourself very slowly, making it easier for the other player to land a shot before you're even ready to fire. Secondly, if you're only strafing with one key, it is much easier to quickly counter strafe and not have your first shots be inaccurate. A good example of this is on Long Dust 2. Make the peek on the car angle as far back as you'd like, with only using your strafe keys. Then, on your own terms, while there's no risk of the other player peeking, move up closer using W and get ready to peek the guy at barrels. You want to avoid all those times when you see someone and you can't immediately fire because you're plowing around the map holding W. This should be applied to all areas of the map. I see way too many people holding W when clearing angles and peeking other players. Even when clearing large areas or sweeping an angle, you should practice only using the A and D keys, while using your W key sparingly. A good example of this is on Dust 2 Mid. You don't even need to press W to get all the way out and properly check all the angles. So here's how you're going to train yourself to be a better player. Spend 10 to 15 minutes a day on a map and memorize every single angle. You should be able to mentally run from one side of the map to the other and imagine all the angles that you're exposed to and how far you need to strafe to be exposed to the potential enemy. Remember the tip I gave earlier about pre-firing and pre-aiming all of these angles so they become ingrained in your muscle memory. Along with this, think of the crosshair placement. How high for head level, and what angles am I exposed to while I make this peek or while moving from point A to point B. Secondly, try unbinding your forward and back keys. Now practice moving around the map and peeking those angles with the handicap of not being able to move directly forward. Notice how, in order to make those movements, you have to have your crosshair and strafing in sync and let your crosshair guide your movement as you make arcs across the map. This will reinforce how good crosshair placement and good movement techniques go hand in hand. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps some of you. Remember to subscribe and check the description for my Twitter or if you're interested in lessons, and have a good one.